Hey, Foot Clan, before we get into today's show, I want to remind you about NFL Game Pass. Every throw, every catch, every fourth and inches, whatever your favorite game is, NFL Game Pass has got it. Get the game replays, condensed games. That's where it's at, those condensed games. If it's NFL football and it happened, NFL Game Pass has got it. So kick off the 2017 NFL season with a free NFL Game Pass trial. Sign up now at nfl.com/fantasyfootballers.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the Playdraft Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
One day away. One day.
Football's back.
Well, no, because it's one day away, Jason.
I'm living in the future.
One day till it matters. Till the games matter. Welcome into the show, Andy, Mike, and Jason, the Fantasy Footballers. Back once again. I feel like today's episode is all over the map. I mean, we are standing beneath the tree of fantasy wisdom, picking fruit from all over. And we got to talk about Zeke. We got to talk about Hurricane Irma. We got to talk about we got Pump the Brakes on the show, a ton of depth chart news, getting you ready for week one. We got the Thursday night game.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. We are everywhere. I was going to go with we're like throwing the big fish net.
Yeah,
into the world of the fantasy ocean.
Yeah, and you just want to make sure you pull up good stuff.
Let's get a delicious tuna fish, fellas.
Fantasy podcast goals. Well, let's get this thing started. You can follow us on Twitter at the FFBallers. Let me say something first, because we are a day removed now from the live show. If you listened to the podcast yesterday, you heard.
Oh my goodness!
You heard Ballers live. So even if you weren't able to come out to Phoenix and listen to the show and participate, you got to hear the show, and it was absolutely incredible. It was great. I have to share one highlight that if you didn't listen to the whole episode, one of my favorite parts was when Jason was vopoed by an actual Foot Clan member.
Yeah, that got me.
You got voice of public opinion right back at you.
Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks. You've never experienced it. I also want to lay of the land here for what to expect during the regular season on the show. We are 5 days a week, and so we'll have all the info that you need. Week one rankings. When can people expect week one rankings on the website, guys?
That is a great question. We aim to have them up by Wednesday afternoon every week. We did it last year. Here's what's going to happen. Every single Tuesday, you're going to really want our rankings, and they're not up yet because we are doing monster research nonstop, trying to make sure that our rankings
and then
are
we're
as
going to
good as
research
possible.
Football games after we research Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, I mean, he exists. They both are real, and we've got the research to prove it. But we will have them completed by the middle of the day on Wednesday and have them up in time to make – I mean, the truth is that's plenty of time to make all your roster decisions.
Yeah, and that's just like what your mom did for you when she said you got to eat your – meal before your dessert. I mean, we could throw them up on Tuesday, but it wouldn't be healthy for your fantasy team. And so we try to get them up as soon as possible, but have a first initial accurate ranking. And if you don't know how we do these, we do full point projections for each player. And you can get those on the website as well. That's part of being a member of the Foot Clan. That's part of just what we offer, as well as flex ranks during the year. And so we get them up on Wednesday. They'll be up by end of day today for week one.
Today is Wednesday.
There you go.
Amazing.
It's one of the reasons they go up today. What else is going on? The fantasyfootballers.com is the website, and you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Fantasy Sports Network, Facebook. I'm going to get into the quick question right now, guys. This is a good one. Brooks had it in there a couple days ago. He said, look, name a player that is going undrafted or went undrafted, right, is sitting on your waiver wire, that fantasy owners should keep an eye on during week one and maybe beyond. And I think there are a lot of candidates in 10 and 12-team leagues that, look, only so many players get drafted. And what are some players that are out there on the waiver wire that people should be watching for week one?
I'll start with a player that I don't think should have been drafted and probably wasn't drafted in Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett coming back from the broken ankle. He looked really good when he was healthy last year, and obviously he was he excelled in reception perception. I think he's part of a team that is going to have a very good offense this year. Russell Wilson has looked great in the preseason, and Tyler Lockett has the talent. And also even, week one, that matchup is pretty good against Green Bay as well. So I'm just going to be keeping an eye on him. Right now he's listed basically with the second-team offense.
Yeah, behind Baldwin and Richardson.
Exactly. And the coach, Pete Carroll, said that he was going to be involved in the special teams games, returning the kicks. So I'm just going to keep an eye on him, mostly for health, to see how he's involved. But if he ends up sneaking in there, being an important factor, it will matter to me.
Yeah, he may be somebody that when the bye weeks start rolling around, unless you're Miami or Tampa, which already have, you may be looking at him as a fill-in if he starts to show that he's back.
And with Tyler Lockett, by looking at him, I might end up after that game going, oh, Paul Richardson is actually the guy that we need to have there.
All right, I'll throw out a few names. Josh Doxson's one that you should pay attention to.
Huge upside, but it's just been all negative about Josh Doxson this offseason. It's coming from Washington, coming from their coaching staff. I mean, they're on this guy, just that he can't seem to stay on the field. But just remember who Josh Doxson was in college, his draft pedigree. If he hits, he could hit.
I love Andy bringing up the name because now it's regular season. Now is the only time that it matters. And yes, the coach has been saying negative things, but that's all coach speak. Now we get to see him on the field. I love you bringing up that name, Andy.
Thank you. Kendall Wright and Kevin White. Pay attention to who seems to be the favorite early on in Chicago. Just like Robbie Anderson in New York, a number one receiver, no matter how bad the team is. I mean, we saw this last year in a number of circumstances. Kenny Brett over 1,000 yards in a really bad situation. Terrell Pryor in a bad situation.
Robbie Anderson, once he took over as the one, I mean, you're right. Don't forget that everyone in the NFL is going to put up at least some points. They're at least going to put up passing yards because that's what the NFL is today. And so someone on that team will be catching passes.
I'll throw Darren Sproles' name out there because he's not drafted in a lot of leagues. But my favorite and the one I wanted to focus on, Mike Williams of the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a top 10 pick. This is not Kevin White or Josh Doxson. This is a new opportunity to see him with Phillip Rivers, and I think he's somebody I want to. I just got a feeling about him.
You're on your own. I know. This one.
I realize I might take a few weeks, but Mike Williams is someone I'm looking at.
The names I'll throw out.
Be watching Corey Davis more than Mike Williams, but I think both are relevant.
The name I'm going to throw out. The first one is Chris Carson. This is not necessarily a you're going to watch week one. This is
That's the Seattle Seahawks running back Chris Carson.
Thank you. Absolutely. Seattle Seahawks. And this is you might just need to throw him on your waivers or you're on your bench right now because Thomas Rawls, yes, he's listed as the starter for the team. But Eddie Lacy and Chris Carson are co-listed, as the backup. And if Chris Carson goes off because Rawls may not play week one, if Chris Carson goes full ham, he's going to be the hotness. You're going to have to pay up. So he's a guy that if you're interested, just toss him on the back of the bench.
That situation in Seattle.
It is disgusting.
You're not wrong, and that bugs me because I have Eddie Lacy and I have Thomas Rawls in one of our leagues, our league of record.
Mistakes were made,
and I just thought I did enough in my draft. I painfully
you thought you had the backfield.
I painfully took both of them, but you could still be right.
And then and then to echo Jason's disgusting, horrific, bold take on Coby Fleener.
Kobe!
If you're streaming tight ends, Coby Fleener, just watch him week one with Willie Snead out. It was only one game last year, but the one game Willie Snead was out, Coby Fleener dominated, so maybe he will see an uptick. Even Mike Triplett, the Saints beat reporter, has said, yeah, Coby Fleener's likely to be the benefactor and see some more targets.
All right, let's talk news.
News and notes from around the league.
You want to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Ooh, no.
Too bad. Too bad. Welcome to Zekepocalypse.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just every day is. We said this like
it never ends.
A month ago, I said he's the hardest player that I've ever had to. The hardest situation I've ever had to provide fantasy analysis for, because there are so many variables, and now more variables have come out and things have come out that I never would have expected. Here's the situation for Ezekiel Elliott, if you have not heard. Harold Henderson has ruled that the entire suspension should be upheld.
So
However,
he's
that's
scheduled
a
to miss
6
6 games. Yes.
However, he ruled past a deadline that they had set. Therefore, they ruled that basically, look, the court, because Ezekiel Elliott filed a what would you call an injunction?
Yeah.
And he basically is seeking a temporary restraining order on the ruling of the suspension so that he can play as the court figures out whether the punishment was appropriate or required at all. But because this ruling by Harold Henderson came after a deadline and the court has asked the NFL for more time in their ruling, the NFL has then said Ezekiel Elliott is eligible to play Week 1. So he will be on the field in Week 1. That's the situation. We don't know whether the court will approve the motion, which would then basically delay the suspension until legal things have worked themselves out.
Which the NFL, they have already filed their counter to that, asking that the court not even think about Ezekiel Elliott's injunction. I mean, it's the reason why it's so hard to give fantasy advice, because we are not giving fantasy advice.
It's legal.
We are giving legal advice, and I am not qualified.
Your Honor, you can speak on this.
Yeah, we have the judge.
Right.
Judge Giovani, what is your official ruling on Ezekiel Elliott as both a Dallas fan and a judge?
I think we got to just dismiss the suspension.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Someone has Zeke on his team.
I reached out to some lawyers on Twitter to kind of get a little bit more insight, as well as following Cowboy insiders.
Did they tweet the whelp face back to you?
Right, yeah. What it seems like right now is it comes down to, for Zeke, and Andy brought it up, but the temporary restraining order and the preliminary injunction. Mike Fisher, great insider from CBS on the Cowboys, has been talking about this for a long time, and he's really plugged in. If those two things are approved for Zeke, each one takes months usually, and it will more than likely be delayed till the end of the season. So there is a legitimate chance here that if those get approved, the suspension could still happen, but it would, in that situation, more than likely be in 2018.
So Tom Brady style.
Exactly, a la Tom Brady, and Zeke could end up playing 16 this year. So it is definitely a mess. The way that I view it, if you are still drafting, I actually think it's really a good time to draft Zeke because, look, worst case scenario, he's suspended in the middle of the season. He goes from weeks 2 to week 7, and so what? You're drafting him.
So what? Who cares?
You're drafting him at a price.
Worst case scenario is you have him for the first half of the season, and then the ruling comes in, and then
it's
he's
not favorable.
gone.
Yeah,
right. I guess that would be worst case scenario. But I think you're drafting him at that discount right now, and I'm starting to lean more towards the fact that he might not miss games this year.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's too bold, too.
I hesitate to go out and say that. I was saying this morning I'm probably doubling down. Like if I had to put, my chips in one corner, there are more chips on the side that I think he'll play the majority of the season. But look, how much risk do you want?
That's exactly what it is. How much risk are you willing to take on for your fantasy team, and at what draft cost? Because like Jay said, there's still people drafting. So this is, I guess, we're talking to them. If you've already got them, just buckle up. Make sure you have running backs on your bench.
And if he's suspended weeks 2 through 7, and he just plays week 1, which is very, very likely as well, then it just gets worse for Zeke, right? Because now the one game that he's in is against the New York Giants, which was his only 2 bad games last year.
Oh, his second game was solid. He didn't score a touchdown, but he had over 100 yards.
All right. Let's talk about the other big news that broke this morning. The NFL has postponed officially the Bucs-Dolphins game, which was scheduled to be played in Miami, Florida. They have postponed it until Week 11 because both of these teams had a Week 11 bye. This means if your name's Jameis Winston or Mike Evans, Doug Martin, Jaquiz Rogers, Deshaun Jackson, Cameron Brate, Nick Folk, Jay Cutler, Jay Ajayi, Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry, Kenny Stills, Julius Thomas.
Who put Nick Folk in this list?
I'm just throwing those names out there because if you have them,
they're on bye.
You'll know the name, and you need to pay attention. They're on bye.
And that's how it's going to work. A lot of people are saying, well, what does this mean? How do the points happen? Matthew Berry confirmed, at least for ESPN, and I'm sure it's the same on the other platforms.
Brad Evans confirmed for Yahoo as well.
Sweet. So this is a week 1 bye week. Those players are not playing this week. They will play in week 11. It's just exchanging bye weeks. That's all it is.
But now you don't have them in your roster, and now they have to play 16 consecutive games, which is ridiculous.
And for Miami, that includes a London trip this year.
It does.
I mean, this is – for Jay Ajayi, who they've all offseason been, this guy, we're going to give him the ball until he disintegrates.
He's going to disintegrate.
Odds of disintegration have increased?
They have increased. I mean, that's really unfortunate, not just for fantasy, of course, but just for the Dolphins and the Bucs. I mean, for Ajayi, 16 straight weeks. You get no break.
It's not going to.
That's rough.
I don't think it would change anything for me. Whether if you got a week 4 bye, you get a break in a couple weeks, but then you still have a very long stretch. It's unfortunate
16.
for them, but for fantasy purposes, I don't think it can affect much. I did see someone tweet out though that Jay Cutler's only been there a month. He's already taken the first week off.
Oh, come on. Hey, Florida.
Obviously, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
with those
Florida.
in Florida.
Stay safe, people.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember growing up, and Hurricane Andrew was one of the biggest hurricanes. They're talking about Irma as bigger than Hurricane Andrew.
It's
and
larger than the state of Ohio right now, and this is on the heels of the horrific ness going on in Houston.
Yeah,
thoughts and prayers are definitely out there with you.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk a little bit about some depth chart news. Mike brought up Thomas Rawls. Jeremy Hill's listed as the starting running back in week 1. What are the implications of that, Mike? It was inevitable, right?
Yes, it's absolutely expected. Marvin Lewis he's not going to give his rookie the starting job week 1. And that's the entire question for Joe Mixon is when. When is this going to happen? Is it going to happen this year, him taking over, or will it not happen until next year when Jeremy Hill is off the team? Because Hill's in a contract year. They're not going to re-sign him. But the news has been all over the map. I mean, the rumors in the bushes, they're talking out both sides of the leaves. Saying
you just really wanted to stay inside of the analogy there.
And I think
you ended up sounding dumb.
Crushed it.
Yeah,
I think I crushed it.
I think Mixon will be the guy very soon.
Okay, you're going very soon?
That's the
Jason,
direction I
what's
lean.
your take?
Yeah, I expected him to be third on the depth chart, and I think what you're going to see is you're going to see Jeremy Hill get the ball first, and on drive 1, I think you're going to see Joe Mixon out there involved. I expect him to have over 10 total touches in this game, which means he's startable to me because his talent will supersede. He's not going to be a top 10 guy until he has the volume of touches, but he's going to be a flex player worthy option regardless of where he's listed on the depth chart.
All right, I forgot to mention Tyrod Taylor has completed concussion protocol. He will start week 1, and Sean McDermott says he expects Jordan Matthews to start week 1 as well. Whether he finishes week 1 is to be determined.
Sure. Well, they're playing the Jets, so
he'll finish.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets are they're going to take a seat, right?
Both of those teams, I could play both defenses in that game.
They're just going to knee it out.
It's not going to be
the whole
good.
Clock.
The first ever tied game is 0-0 after overtime.
Cooper Kupp is listed behind Robert Woods on the initial depth chart in Los Angeles. This is something that we've been warning people about for the last month. LeGarrette Blount, right? Eagles coach Doug Peterson came out and said the game plan and the situation will determine which of the running backs. So Blount or Smallwood or Sproles. Look, you're not going to know how many carries is guaranteed to Blount. I've moved his carries down like 3 times in the Ultimate Draft Kit over the last week just because I don't have confidence that this is a 200-plus carry running back, much less him even getting 200 carries and producing with them. It's a scary kind of running back situation. It starts to mirror the Giants where you're kind of like, okay, who do I take, and do I even want to take somebody?
Yeah, I mean, Wendell Smallwood is a name where he's on a lot of waivers, and he could end up becoming the starter just because he's better, shockingly, than LeGarrette Blount.
All right, we want to take a quick timeout and thank today's sponsor, Harry's. We love Harry's. Absolutely love Harry's. Look, for decades, there's been one big razor company that has increased their prices and reaped immense profits. And look, Jeff and Andy, two ordinary guys who were fed up with getting ripped off, they started Harry's Razors. They knew that there was only one way to ensure the quality of Harry's Razors, and that was to buy a factory, their own blade factory. I've been using Harry's for well over, 2 years now. And what I love about Harry's is just the routine. It's simple, right? I don't pay a bunch of money. I get a smooth shave every single time. It's comfortable. It just fits my life. It's perfect. So they're so confident that you'll love their blades. They're giving you their trial set for free. Just cover the shipping. Your free trial set includes a weighted ergonomic handle, 5 precision engineered blades with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover. So you get a $13 value. You get to try that out. So stop messing around and start shaving with Harry's today by claiming the free trial offer. $13 value for free. Just cover the shipping. To get your free trial set, including a razor handle, 5-blade cartridge, and shave gel, go to harrys.com/footballers right now. That's harrys.com/footballers.
And fellas, we've got to tell you about Pro Flowers because pro tip, the NFL season is on us, and you want to watch football. So you surprise your lady with some flowers. I'm saying you become the hero. This is what I've done. I mean, you surprise with flowers. You get them all arranged and you put them on.
Want a surprise? Give a surprise.
You put them on the kitchen table, and now you're a hero. I did that with my wife, and then it's like, oh, the game is on. Oh, you go watch that game. You are so nice. That's what. And look, Pro Flowers, they're a great company. They make awesome flowers right now. There's a colorful rainbow roses, and you can get 20% off any collection of any bouquets, $29 or more. So to get 20% off your rainbow roses or any bouquet, $29 or more, go to proflowers.com. Use our code BALLERS at checkout. That's proflowers.com and code BALLERS. Don't wait. Surprise her today.
I'm still wondering how they make the flowers.
They make them in the dirt, man.
They make them in the dirt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you. Hey, look, I want to preview the Patriots game before we get into Pump the Brakes. Does that sound good to you guys?
Sounds great.
Fantasy Forecast.
Welcome to the NFL. Week 1. Nearly upon us. I mean, it is upon us. We've got the Chiefs traveling to New England to, I guess they're attending a celebration. We're going to see the banner raised, and we're going to make some fantasy presumptions in this game. And week one is tough. Week 1 is difficult when you're talking about Bill Belichick. Not only in the backfield, but with the wide receiving core, with the Edelman injury, we're going to learn a lot. We know what Rob Gronkowski is, but let's start on the New England side of the ball in this matchup. You're at home. They're 9-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 48.5 points.
9 points?
They are 9-point favorites.
Wow.
I think I'll take the over.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Bill Belichick, week 1, give him time to prepare.
You're saying that on the back of New England's offensive acumen as opposed to just this game being higher scoring?
Yes. I'm saying I would take, I guess it wasn't just the over. I'm saying I would take New England to cover.
I got you. So let's talk about the backfield. Gillislee, Burkhead, White, and Lewis spread across that backfield. I don't think we'll know even what situation those players will be on the field. The one with the most kind of guaranteed work to me is James White.
Yeah.
Just in the role, not necessarily the fantasy production. Mike, you have Mike Gillislee on your roster. I got Rex Burkhead in our League of Record roster. Are you starting Gillislee in week 1?
I am. I am starting Gillislee, and do I feel great about it?
Not really?
Not really. But I still feel confident that the Patriots are going to put up points, and I feel confident that if they get into the 5, the ball is going to go to Mike Gillislee, and they're going to try and just crush it up the middle. And so I'm still projecting him as the goal line back. So I feel at least somewhat safe with that. But I agree, Andy, that somehow, in some way, James White, after this entire offseason of the Burkhead and Gillislee love because of Edelman's injury, James White feels like the safest running back on the team at this point.
Certainly, if you're in a PPR, he will get a lot of passing work.
I feel like what we might end up seeing this year in New England is which running back made the big play of that game. And it might be Burkhead out of the backfield for a 54-yard run or something one day. Then it's Dion Lewis. Then it's Gillislee. But Gillislee at least has the inside the 5 role, hopefully.
It's a good role for the Patriots.
Yeah, it is. LeGarrette, Blount, anyone? Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the other side of the ball at the running back position. Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, baby.
Locked and loaded?
He's locked and loaded for me. It's not the best matchup. The Patriots were a solid run defense. I mean, they were
I believe number 3 last year.
They were a great overall defense, and Belichick almost always has a solid defense as well. And there was this nonsense streaming out, I believe it was earlier this week or late last week of, well, maybe, just maybe, it's actually going to be a timeshare and Kareem Hunt isn't going to be the featured back. But if you read through that article, it was just saying that, yeah, the backups are going to get work. And we know that. We know that
one man does not take – I mean, like,
yes.
The best case scenario, you're getting, what, 65% of the work, 60% of the work?
Exactly. And so you're like, yeah, Sharkhandrick West is going to get a couple touches here and there. But Kareem Hunt, it was again confirmed, he's going to be the workhorse. And
you brought up a ton of names in the Andy Reid past from the beginning of his time that were second, third-round picks that he felt more than comfortable to give all the work to.
When to be fair, Andy Reid has had timeshares in his past, but that was because of injury and just he didn't have a guy step forward. And I fully believe in Kareem Hunt that even in this tough matchup, that the volume and the pass catching is going to make Kareem Hunt a very solid play every single week, including this one in a bad matchup.
Okay. Let's what do you want to talk about? The quarterbacks?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and start Tom Brady. I mean, we always question which weapon will get used. Is it going to be Gronk? Is it going to be Amendola stepping up? How will Cooks be used? Will it be the running backs? But the common denominator across the board is obviously Tom Brady. With the weapons he has as an offense, I think this is his best overall offense that he's had in recent memory. And so if that's the case, you start him in every matchup. I don't care if it's, the Broncos. I'm starting Tom Brady 16 games this year. On the other side of the ball, Alex Smith.
That's bold.
What's bold?
To play Tom Brady.
I know, right? I'm bringing straight fire.
I'm stuck with Alex Smith, which is my perspective. I'm stuck with Alex Smith in this matchup in our Dynasty
League.
League.
Also the Chiefs' perspective.
We'll see. Yeah, for those that have wondered about that circumstance, the head coach, the GM, they've talked about Alex Smith just being so much more mentally advanced than Pat Mahomes right now. So if you have an expectation of a takeover right away, it's not going to happen. But Alex Smith, I have to start him this week. I have Andrew Luck in our Dynasty League. It's Simeon or it's Alex Smith, so I'm going to go with Smith.
Yeah.
What do you think about the wide receiver core? What do you expect from Tyreek Hill in this game?
Tyreek Hill is to me, he's the only guy who has a chance to put up a really electric game. I think the Patriots are going to game plan for Travis Kelce, and he'll get his, he'll get work. But I don't think you're going to see Travis Kelce blow up against the Patriots in Week 1. The one thing that you can hope for in Tyreek Hill is because of his freakish speed. There's something where you can game plan and you can scheme a guy out, but if he just beats another human being in a race and gets to the edge and gets to the corner, you always have the chance. So I think if I had to pick a player from outside of Kareem Hunt to start from Kansas City, it would be Tyreek Hill even over Travis Kelce.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I mean, Kelsey's an auto start because of where he's drafted. And
yeah, you're going to start him. But the Patriots are pretty good against tight ends. At least they were last year. I don't see any reason to believe they wouldn't be this year.
I'm taking the under in this game.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm taking the under. It's 48.5 points. I'm taking the under. The Patriots defense at home, first game, figuring things out, not having Edelman in place. I'm going to take the under in this game. Anything else you want to touch on before we get into pump the brakes?
I think that Chris Hogan is a very solid flyer this week. We know that Marcus Peters can shut people down, but I think that their cornerbacks on the other side of the field not nearly as good as Peters. So I think that Hogan has a very solid chance to hit a home run.
It's funny because I really like Cooks, so we'll have to see. But
welcome to Talking About the Patriots with Andy, Mike, and Jason.
I mean,
it involves a large black hat that you stick your hand in and then you pull a name out of.
Yeah, I mean, we did a 3-person draft where it was just the three of us for week 1, and you could pick any player. I actually picked Brandon Cooks. I think he'll be a surprising.
I would much rather have Cooks than.
Yeah, that wasn't my argument.
No. My point is not I'm taking him over Hogan. My point was I picked Brandon Cooks when I could pick anyone in week 1. I mean, there were only 3 people drafting wide receivers. I think Brandon Cooks has a really big game.
Which is great for you because you're playing against him in our league of record.
Oh, man.
All right, hey, guess what's back this year?
Oh,
it's back again.
Oh,
O'Reilly.
Auto parts. Yeah! It's Pump the Brakes with O'Reilly back again for another season. It's time to pump the brakes.
On a couple of players.
On Bilal Powell.
Oh,
whoa.
Don't do it to me.
It's so trendy. It's so cool to love him again.
It's awesome.
We've gone up and down the roller coaster of Bilal Powell all offseason, and now you've got another upswing with Bilal Powell and the Forte trade rumors and Forte's health. And, well, Matt Forte's still there, and the Jets still are not good. And I think we need to not get too crazy about this with Bilal Powell. And, look, I see the upside if all of the passing targets are there, but it is not a good situation in New York, and I just don't want to buy in to Bilal Powell as my running back 2 and lock that in for this season. So I'm going to pump the brakes on Bilal Powell heading into the season. And, look, if he's on your roster, great. Just make sure you're establishing more running back depth with your team.
It's ironic because it looks like he's got a better matchup, but I look at Bilal Powell and think he will be more utilized and have better fantasy games against more difficult matchups. I think it's going to be in the games that the Jets are close and they're in the running with him that Forte will be used more. They won't be using Powell as a passing game. So against the Bills, that feeds into your point. He might not be the best week 1 play. For me, I'm pumping some heavy brakes on I'm saying like semi-truck brakes.
Okay.
I'm pulling the horn.
Well, I mean, it's harder to stop a semi-truck. That's why they have those runaway ramps.
Yeah, and
which is how I would describe having you on the podcast. Just one of the runaway ramps.
So I'm throwing on the Jake brakes here. The Jake brakes on Matthew Stafford.
What are the?
I don't get.
Who is Jake?
Jake brakes are what you call brakes in a semi-truck.
What?
Really,
Brooks?
Really, Jason dropping that automobile knowledge.
I don't know. You guys can vet me. A lot of times it's
Jake brakes.
I believe that they're called Jake brakes.
An engine brake for truck diesel engines that cuts off fuel flow and interrupts the transfer of mechanical energy to the drive mechanism.
Blood out.
A Jake brake.
All right. Well, there you go. So here are the Jake brakes on Matthew.
Corrected.
Here are the Jake brakes on Matthew Stafford.
Someone write this day down because this is what are we, September 6th, the date that will live in infamy.
Remember the 6th. All right. Look, I feel the need to apologize to people because had I really looked into it earlier, I think I would have told people a couple weeks ago not to draft Matthew Stafford. He's high in my rankings. Well, here's why. I like to stream quarterbacks, and I hope when I grab one that it's a quarterback that can play the whole season. Now, at the end of year rankings, I've got Stafford pretty high. I think he's my number 11 quarterback. So I'm not saying he's terrible and an undraftable, unstartable asset. I actually like Matthew Stafford this year. My whole argument, though, is that week 1, I think the Arizona Cardinals passing defense is fantastic. I worry a little bit about their rush defense, but they have looked great. They've got the personnel, I think, to match up well with the Detroit Lions. So I don't like a week 1 matchup there. And then they go from the Cardinals to the Giants. And so I'm expecting a harder week 1 and week 2. Look, he'll be fine. I'm not saying you can't start him. But what I am saying is that later in the draft, a Carson Palmer, who gets to open up with a great schedule, would have been a better guy to start with. That's it. I mean, I don't want to send the message you need to drop Matthew Stafford. Pick up a second quarterback, and if there's a guy with a juicy matchup, play him over.
All right, and I am pumping the brakes on the new hotness, Leonard Fournette. And I'm with Jason. I'm not saying you benched Leonard Fournette. You spent the draft pick on him.
So you're just tapping the brake.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Just a little nudge. Little nudge ski over here.
So not Jake breaks.
So I'm not Jake breaking. I am not jackknifing the semi on this one.
No, but the red lights are coming on.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's coming off of this foot injury, this mysterious foot injury that we can't really get a clarification of. Maybe he got cleated. Maybe there's something else going on. But coming off the foot injury, gets to play the Texans week 1. And all I'm saying here is in your flex, we talk about your roster construction in the draft and on a weekly basis. You may need to put a little bit of upside into your flex to offset the week that I'm expecting from Leonard Fournette, which is not a spectacular week.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
All right, Bilal Powell, Matthew Stafford, Leonard Fournette, the initial Pump the Brakes segment. We'll bring it every single week. Some guys that we are saying, watch out, be careful. Sometimes there'll be Jake breaks. Sometimes there'll be regular breaks. That was Pump the Brakes with O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every single day. Mike, let's do a little mailbag. Sound good?
Okie dokie.
Mailbag.
Mailbag, yeah!
I think we have a great first question in our mailbag section today. If you are interested in sending a question to the show, go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, click the Submit a Question button, or dial our voicemail hotline, 302-464-TFFB. Let's go ahead and turn to a voicemail question to start it off. Wait for it.
Hey guys, this is Austin in Nashville. Love the show. Got a quick question. I managed to get 2 Chargers pass catchers on my team, and they play Denver week 1. I got Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry. As far as tight ends go, there's plenty of good waiver options. But as far as my other pass catchers, I got Beckham, Crabtree, Diggs, and Garcon. Do you trust Keenan Allen enough to start him week 1 against that Denver defense? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Good question, and I mean, based on the pass catchers that at least I heard,
yeah, Decker,
I think
Garcon,
you're okay.
and I feel like Decker, Garcon, and Crabtree. Did we hear all 3 of them?
You're right. And why not just see what you have with Allen on your bench for his first week back?
Yeah, I would as well. I mean, if you don't have other good options, I think Keenan Allen will be involved enough in the offense to where you didn't get him as a touchdown high upside guy. He's a guy that's going to get 4, 5, 6 dink-a-dunk receptions and hopefully do something. I don't love him. I almost pumped the brakes on Keenan Allen because of
perfect candidate.
So who are you going then?
I would
over Keenan.
I'd play Garcon over Keenan.
Yeah, I would play
against the Panthers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
Well, all right.
I really would, Mike. How much would I? You want to do a Garcon Keenan week 1 water bet?
Water bet. That'll be paid out quick, swiftly. Oh!
Water bet.
Look, I didn't get a draft Garcon in our league of record. It broke my heart, but I sure as heck am going to water bet with him.
And here's the deal, Keenan Allen. I have believed in you for years. Keep me dry. keep my britches dry.
Yeah, you haven't turned your back on him.
I have not. So don't turn your back on me, Keenan Allen.
Okay, this question comes in from Dylan Raspberry.
Oh,
which is a great name.
That is a great.
That's a Twitter handle. Which rookie running back is getting too much hype and will end up disappointing owners the most, if there is any at all?
Well, there definitely will be.
I just pumped the brakes on my choice.
Yeah, but is that a global season-long view? I mean, is that the rookie that you would answer this question with?
Yes.
Wow.
That's what I've said all off season. I just that him and Gurley, I get the allure, but bad team, going to be in bad game scripts. That
could
be who my
could
guy.
be P. Ryan. P. Ryan may never have an opportunity the entire season.
Yeah, but I mean, P. Ryan's. I'm factoring draft value
Yeah,
into it as well.
Sure.
That's a helpful. I mean, that's the argument to say that Leonard Fournette will let you down the most because he probably cost you
the most.
So I would actually.
Whoa! What?
It's just because of the foot.
I've been alone.
You've been alone because I believe Leonard Fournette is an incredibly good back.
And many people I respect think the same exact thing.
The foot does scare me. If he plays, I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to be a really valuable asset this year. My worry is, will he be able to play through the foot problem?
All right, this one comes in from Dynasty Deitmar. He says, what would you guys do with Hilton? Would you hold, trade, or play him as a wide receiver 1?
I'm holding
him, and I'll play him as a wide receiver 2. I mean, look, he's still going to be out there.
Are you saying that just you're expecting a 2, or you're actually putting him into the 2 slot and saying,
I'm going to move him down.
You brought this on yourself, T.Y.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah, he did not. Andrew Luck has brought this on you. But I bring that up only to temper the expectations. I wouldn't be playing him, and when you look at your roster and you're saying, will I need a safe guy or a high upside guy, when I'm looking at what I expect to get from Hilton, my expectations will be tempered, but I would still probably play him.
Yeah, and your options are slightly reduced if you're a Devontae Parker or Mike Evans owner or Jarvis Landry owner this week, Deshaun Jackson. I mean, you may not have the luxury of choosing to bench a Keenan Allen or choosing to bench a T.Y. Hilton. I told Jason, while I love in concept what we're talking about here with the Rams defense against Indianapolis week 1, I still think there's some caution to be paid there because Aaron Donald's not likely to be in that game. The best defensive player on the entire Rams defense. The Rams defense last year, even in great matchup situations, they really were not a very good fantasy defense. And so there are playmakers in the Indianapolis offense. Now, it's Hilton, right? I mean, you got to get the ball to Hilton. But I'm just a little bit cautious about having that week 1 matchup be the best defensive matchup of the week.
Son of bum. What? That's the nickname for Wade Phillips. Son of bum. You guys didn't know that? His dad was bum.
Are you Jake breaking me again?
That's his Twitter handle.
You
guys don't know this? People know this.
This was out of nowhere.
Whether we know it or not, I don't think anybody was expecting a loud son of bum.
Look, Wade Phillips. It'll be interesting to see how he can change that defense. I believe in him as a defensive coordinator, so I'm still starting the Rams.
You believe him as a defensive coordinator?
I believe in him as a defensive coordinator. I said the word in.
I'm with Jason that I would still start the Rams, no problem. I think that there's going to be
son of bum.
I think someone's going to be on their bum, and that person is Scott Tolzien.
Yeah,
he's going to get hit a lot.
Do you guys not follow Wade Phillips? He is one of the best actual NFL Twitter follows.
That's his Twitter handle?
Yeah.
It's son of bum.
I believe so. Let me look it up.
He's following some guy that has nothing to do with football at all.
Yes, it is. Wade Phillips is at son of bum.
Amateur actor.
Nope, he's verified. Football.
Okay. Dylan Yates wants to know whether he should hold on to Willie Snead through the suspension or drop him for a waiver wire pickup. I am not optimistic for the long term.
I would drop him if you're in any normal league. If you've got a huge bench,
like
that's a huge bench.
Yeah. If there's 8 or so on your bench, then or 7 even, I would hold him. Otherwise, you're going to need those roster spots,
right?
and I don't want to hold them for 3 weeks.
I'm on Twitter. I'm just searching for son of bum right now, so I can't really.
Yeah,
there he is.
You click that follow
button.
button.
Wade Phillips, son of bum.
I feel like if I Googled son of bum, I'm going to get a lot of different results.
Don't do that.
You won't get different results. He wrote a book called Son of Bum.
He wrote a book called Son of Bum. Well, you are definitely the Wade Phillips expert on this panel.
You're the biographer for Wade Phillips?
I ate my Wheaties today.
I guess.
Okay. Well, how do we move up from there? Chris Singleton on Facebook wants to know if your commissioner limits you to a total of 20 acquisitions after the draft, how does this
get a new commissioner?
How does this affect your strategy throughout the year, i.e. streaming positions and making trades? It massively affects it.
Yeah, we've talked about when this happens.
And I don't want to shame every commissioner and their rules. A lot of rules are tradition.
Yeah, and I don't either, but I'll shame this one.
Great.
Not all of them, but I think
I
fantasy football is to have fun and to limit what you can do, unless you have to pay literal money for each transaction and you're limiting it so that people can't just win by money. Sure. Other than that, I think limiting transactions is to limit fun. I would make sure I've got 2 quarterbacks that I like on my roster so that you can stream not from the waivers but from your team. Outside of that, you've got to look at chunks. I think you look at chunks of schedules. Instead of just this week, you got to look 2 weeks deep or 3 weeks deep when you're looking to pick up your defense or your tight end. And I might tie break there.
All right, hey, we're going to wrap this episode up. We'll be back tomorrow. Starts of the week tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Am I right, Brooks?
Oh, yeah.
We have a few things to remind you of. I wanted to just say this. $21,772,024 is what the Houston Flood Relief Fund by J.J. Watt has now raised. That is absolutely incredible. And once again affirms what people – there are good people out there.
Yes.
There are really, really good people out there. I also wanted to mention, if you're playing DFS this year, this is week 1 of DFS. And we came out – look, if you like the Ultimate Draft Kit, you can check out ultimatedfspass.com. It's got exclusive premium content weekly. Like, there's a schedule every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. New content coming out to prep you up to dominate on DraftKings, FanDuel, and PlayDraft every single week. So if that's part of your football experience, something you enjoy, we've got the DFS podcast on Fridays from Mike.
Yes.
Look on iTunes.
There's some really good stuff in there. If there's a guy you believe in and you're like, I think Blake Bortles is going to have a big week, it's going to be surprising. We've got a chart to show you, like, what percentage of your salary is that going to take on DraftKings versus on FanDuel? And you can go, oh, if I want to play Bortles, I'm playing it over on this platform because I get a better value. There's some cool stuff in here. I'm really proud of it.
Want to thank the NFL Game Pass again for sponsoring today's show. You got to check it out, Foot Clan. The replays. I just want to repeat the condensed games. You take it all in. You go, what really happened? Stop just box score surfing. See what actually happened. Check out the all 22 coaches film. And that's all on the NFL Game Pass, because if it's NFL football and it's happening, it's NFL Game Pass. Kick off the 2017 NFL season. Get that free trial at NFL.com/fantasyfootballers.
You know what's really hard to do in the NFL these days? Come out with an alternate logo or a logo at all. Have you guys seen this Seattle Seahawks alternate logo?
Why would you have an
is that a
alternate
real thing?
logo?
What do you mean?
An alternate logo?
Yeah. You've never heard of an alternate logo?
No, I've certainly heard of one, but why?
Every team's got tons of alternate logos and things like that. They came out with a new one for Seattle, and it's a forward-facing Seahawk, I guess.
Man,
but it looks like an owl. And I'm just telling people, if you want to be entertained, go and look at the memes and the pictures coming out about this alternate logo on Twitter.
I love the Angry Birds.
Yeah, the Angry Birds one is the best comparison that I've seen because it looks really funny. So check that out. We'll be back tomorrow. And football!
And, of course, if you want to get in some DFS this week on PlayDraft, you go to playdraft.com/ballers.
Ballers.
Draft a team for the week. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.